There is a moment in every person's life when failure feels like a wall. It stretches endlessly in both directions, towering above everything you thought you could be. A wall of doubt, a wall of fear, a wall of exhaustion. And most people, when they hit that wall, do the same thing. They stop. They stare at it. They convince themselves that the wall is a sign, a warning, a message saying they were never meant to climb in the first place. But there are a few rare individuals who walk up to that same wall, place their hand upon it, and smile. Not because they enjoy suffering, not because they want to struggle, but because they understand something the rest of the world forgets. They know that walls are not barriers. Walls are invitations. Invitations to rise, to grow, to stretch beyond the version of themselves they once believed was the limit. Two people, from two very different worlds, have shown this truth in ways so bold and so public that the world could not ignore it. One built an empire of creativity, philanthropy, and digital influence. The other built companies that reach from the road beneath our feet all the way into the expanse of space above us. One is known for challenges, generosity, and spectacle. The other, for rockets, reinvention, and relentless ambition. MrBeast and Elon Musk. Two names that spark debates, admiration, criticism, and curiosity. Two names that could not be more different in personality or path. Yet deeply similar in one defining trait: their raw, relentless relationship with failure. Today, I want to speak to the heart of that relationship. Not to praise them as untouchable icons. Not to place them on pedestals. But to show that their stories, as extreme as they may seem, illuminate a simple truth we all must face. The truth that failure does not stop you. The belief that failure defines you does. So let us begin with a pause. A breath. A moment to clear away the noise. Because what we are really exploring here is not about two famous men. It is about a mindset. A way of seeing the world. A way of confronting yourself. MrBeast, long before he became one of the biggest creators on the planet, spent years uploading videos that barely anyone watched. Days locked in his room, studying analytics. Hours upon hours dedicated to learning what made one frame more engaging than another. He failed, not once, not twice, but repeatedly, publicly, and often without reward. It was not glamorous. It was not profitable. It was not validated by the world around him. But he kept going. Why? Because for him, failure was not evidence that he lacked talent. It was evidence that he was learning. Every low view count, every idea that didn't land, every experiment that didn't catch fire was another clue in a long trail leading toward mastery. Failure did not discourage him. It sharpened him. Now think about Elon Musk. A man who stepped into industries where people told him success was impossible. He poured his own money into companies most experts predicted would collapse. He faced rockets exploding on live broadcasts. He faced near bankruptcy, ridicule, doubt from investors, journalists, colleagues, even friends. And yet, every time a rocket fell, every time a plan failed, every time the weight of his ambition seemed ready to crush him, he stepped forward again. Not because he was unafraid, but because he learned to carry his fear with him instead of running from it. Both men, in their own ways, lived through storms of criticism, financial strain, exhaustion, and uncertainty. Yet both refused to let those storms dictate their direction. This is where we pause again. Let these words settle for a moment. Because in these stories is a hidden lesson many people overlook. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the process of success. Let that idea breathe. Most people think of success as a straight line. You set a goal, you work toward it, you reach it. But in reality, success is messy, unpredictable, and filled with detours you never wanted. It is trial after trial, mistake after mistake, correction after correction. It is falling flat on your face and choosing, again and again, to rise. MrBeast failed in the shadows, long before the world ever cared to pay attention. Elon Musk failed in full view of millions, long after the world had expectations weighing on his shoulders. Different paths. Same truth. Failure is not final unless you make it final. But here's the part that truly matters. The part that speaks directly to anyone listening right now who feels stuck, overwhelmed, or discouraged. Neither of them waited for motivation to show up. Neither waited for permission. Neither waited for perfect timing. They acted in the presence of fear, not its absence. They moved when they were uncertain, not when they were confident. They advanced while failing, not after succeeding. This is what separates those who dream from those who do. Failure becomes transformative not when you avoid it, but when you decide to meet it with curiosity instead of shame. To ask what it is teaching you rather than what it is taking from you. Take another breath here. Because we often repeat this idea in so many words, but rarely do we internalize it. Failure is feedback. Failure is data. Failure is the universe testing the strength of your commitment to the thing you say you want. When MrBeast spent day and night analyzing what made a video work, he was not being punished by low views. He was being trained. When Elon Musk bet almost everything he had on another rocket launch after the first 3 had failed, he was not being reckless. He was refusing to let temporary outcomes define a permanent conclusion. Both men understood something profoundly human. The world only sees your success after you have endured thousands of invisible moments where you could have stopped, but didn't. Now consider your own life. Think about the goals you hold quietly inside your mind. The dreams you've tucked away. The projects you started and abandoned. The moments when you told yourself you weren't good enough, or prepared enough, or talented enough. Think about how many times you interpreted struggle as a signal that you should quit, rather than a sign that you were on the right path. Pause on that, because this is the moment where transformation begins. Every person you admire, every person who has built something meaningful, has walked through the fire of failure. Not around it, through it. And the reason they stand where they are today is not because they avoided pain, but because they embraced purpose. They chose to see difficulty not as punishment, but as proof that they were expanding. MrBeast expanded by obsession, by experimentation, by relentless dedication to improvement. Elon Musk expanded through risk, through resilience, through ideas so audacious that failure was not just possible, but inevitable. And yet, they kept going. You might think that their levels of success are unattainable. That their stories are too extreme, too extraordinary, too far removed from the reality of your own life. But the lesson is not about becoming them. The lesson is about becoming more of yourself. It is about seeing the challenges in your own life the way they saw theirs. When a project fails, you can see it as proof you're not capable. Or you can see it the way they would, as information you didn't have before. When people doubt you, you can shrink. Or you can strengthen. When circumstances turn against you, you can retreat. Or you can adapt. You have more control over your story than you realize. So let's reflect on this for a moment. Imagine your future self. Not a fantasy version of you. Not a perfect version. But a version who has simply refused to quit. A version who has endured every setback but kept moving. A version who has fallen a dozen times, 100 times, yet always returned to the path with deeper wisdom. Imagine how powerful that version of you is. How capable. How unstoppable. That version of you is not distant. They are built from the decisions you make in moments like this. When you choose courage over comfort. Action over hesitation. Resilience over resignation. But you cannot reach that version of yourself without failing. You cannot grow without friction. You cannot transform without trials. The world will not hand you strength. It will give you opportunities to become stronger, and those opportunities often arrive disguised as obstacles. So take another breath. Let the idea settle. You do not need to be fearless. You only need to be willing. Willing to take the first step. Willing to fail. Willing to try again. Willing to learn. Willing to adapt. Willing to trust that your future is shaped more by your persistence than by your perfection. When MrBeast created videos no one watched, he was building the foundation for millions. When Elon Musk launched rockets that fell from the sky, he was paving the road toward the stars. Their failures were not detours. They were necessary steps. And so are yours. Your failed attempts are not proof you should stop. They are proof you have started. Your struggles are not signals of inadequacy. They are signs that you are alive, engaged, and fighting for something that matters. Your moments of doubt are not weaknesses. They are reminders that you care deeply enough to feel fear in the first place. But caring alone is not enough. You must act. So let this be the moment you commit. Not to an instant transformation. Not to an overnight success. But to a path. A path that accepts failure as part of the journey. A path that welcomes effort, embraces growth, and refuses to bow to discouragement. Because you are capable of more than you know. You do not need to match the achievements of MrBeast or Elon Musk. Your story is your own. Your dreams are your own. Your challenges are your own. But the principles that carried them forward can carry you too. Believe in your ability to learn. Trust in your capacity to adapt. Commit to rising after every fall. And hold on to this truth: failure is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. Let this guide you. Let it empower you. Let it give you the strength to keep pushing when the world grows quiet and the doubts grow loud. Let it remind you that the people who change the world are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who never stop rising. So move forward. Step boldly. Embrace the struggle. Welcome the growth. And know that every failure you face is shaping the person you are becoming. And that person is unstoppable.